What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Kansas City. We have Ian Machado Gary going against Carlos Prates, and we are right back after it after a nice little week off, and I'm looking forward to this card. Looking forward to it from a betting perspective. I think it's a very solid card for a fight night, and I cannot wait to break it all down for you guys from a betting perspective. Before we get into, if you guys could like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All three of those things help out the channel. They go a very long way. If you want to go the extra mile and support me more and get more content from me, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. It's where you'll find all my other content, early access to bets, the bet write-ups, the best bet article, and just a ton more content, access to Discord, etc., etc. Check it out at dfsbythenumbers.com. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we did the prop contest to see who could hit the biggest prop, and I said there's going to be 3 winners. So shouting out the winners. We do have an honorable mention in 4th place with a great call, Dan Ige by KO, Alexis Elizabeth fan page, Dan Ige by KO plus 380. In 3rd place, one of the 3 winners, shout out to my guy Ian. Ian commented Reyes by knockout plus 400. So he was in 3rd place. In 2nd place was Slayer Productions. Shout out to Slayer Productions. They had Dan Ige by 2nd or 3rd round knockout at plus 750. And then 1st place with one hell of a call, Dean McGregor with a Gene Silva by submission plus 1100. Shout out to you guys. If you guys have not hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I'll get you guys your prize winnings. I believe Slayer did, but I think Dean and Ion, I think you still need to hit me up. So hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I'll get you guys your winnings for the contest there. But yeah, guys, with all that out of the way, I say we get into it. We have a lot to talk about. Going to kind of skim through a couple of these. We have 14 fights to get through. And the first fight is Jocelyn Edwards versus Chelsea Chandler. And I'm going to kind of skim through this one here. For me, it's Edwards by decision, but minus 215 is a disgusting price. We can move on. Roberto Romero going against Timmy Kwamba. I like Romero here, so this line's actually flipped. I put these lines in earlier today, and it looks like Romero is actually the dog now. So some random Timmy Kwamba action. And yeah, I feel like this fight will be close. Timmy Kwamba probably the more skilled fighter, but Roberto Romero is a guy that's just going to do a little bit more in there, a little more aggressive. Kwamba just so low volume. Just doesn't do much in there. So unless Kwamba all of a sudden decides he's going to finally put it together, and maybe he does, he's only like 25, 26, I think Romero probably wins just based off of activity. But, like I said, I think a pick'em's about right. I don't really want to get involved with this fight here. Should be a close one, though. Next, we got Jacqueline Amarim going against Pauliana Viana. So I have 2 parlays. I will go over both parlays at the end. But a parlay leg I do like for this week is going to be violence in the Amarim-Viana fight. I think the fight doesn't go to decision. The under 2.5. The fight won't start round 3 are 3 good parlay legs. I personally went with the fight won't start round 3. Gives Amarim 10 minutes to take Viana down, which shouldn't be hard. She has a 38% takedown defense and get a TKO or a submission win. So I like the fight won't start round 3. I have it in a parlay, and that's all I have in this fight because Amarim inside the distance is minus 325. Mind you, this is a strawweight fight. We never see that. Not even in like Liang Na fights do we see inside the distance lines this wide. But, it's for a good reason. Amarim's going to have a significant advantage on the ground, and it's just hard to see any other outcome other than Amarim taking this fight to the mat and finishing it there shortly after. So, yeah, fight won't start round 3 in a parlay, and I'm leaving it at that. Next, we got Malcolm Wellmaker going against Cameron Simon, another pick'em type fight here, and that makes sense. With the Simon side, you got the guy that's been there already. He's fought the better competition. You got the guy with more volume. You got the guy with the potential grappling upside. On the Wellmaker side, you have the moment winner, the guy that's going to hit very hard, and I personally lean towards the Wellmaker side, but instead of playing the money line, I like the knockout prop instead, because here's how I'm looking at it. I think if he does not knock out Simon, and this goes the distance, Simon probably wins just due to activity. And Simon blocks punches with his face. He's very hittable. Wellmaker hits very, very hard. So I'm taking a shot on that Wellmaker by knockout. It was plus 380. Missed that. I got it at plus 360 for a half unit. I think that's pretty much his win condition. I guess I could see a scenario where he hurts. Simon drops him. Maybe the fight goes the distance and he wins, based off a couple moments. But I do think ultimately if Wellmaker is winning this fight, it is by knockout. So that knockout prop at plus 360, I have a half unit shot on that. Next, we got Damon Blackshear going against Alatang Haley. And yeah, this should be a good spot for Blackshear. If you're looking for another parlay piece leg, it's very chalky, very wide, but I think Damon Blackshear at minus 500, it's a good parlay leg, and I threw it in one of my parlays there, and I also played Damon Blackshear to win inside the distance at plus 135 for 1 unit. And, Alatang Haley, he's been finished 4 times. He's never been finished in the UFC, and that's a big talking point this week. But look at who he's lost against. He lost against Chris Gutierrez and Casey Kenny, both who are just horrific finishers. Good fighters, don't get me wrong, horrific finishers. Damon Blackshear's a finisher. 13 out of 16 wins come inside the distance, and if this fight hits the mat, I have a very strong suspicion that Damon Blackshear is going to run through this guy. So, yeah, I think Blackshear wins it any which way. If these two decide to strike for 15 minutes, Damon Blackshear will win just based off of volume. Alatang Haley has no volume, and if this fight hits the mat, whether it's Blackshear on top or on bottom, I think Blackshear is going to find a submission. So I play Blackshear inside the distance, and like I said, I also don't mind him as a parlay piece this week. Next, we got Chris Gutierrez going against John Castaneda. Rebooking here, a fight that I don't have really any interest in. The pick's Gutierrez, but Gutierrez is a guy I typically don't like betting on, especially at chalk, because he fights a lot closer than he needs to be, and this fight has kind of split decision written all over it. Gutierrez is the pick, but no bet. Next, we got Evan Elder going against Gage Young. Another fight where it's no bet for me on this one. I feel like it's one of those where Elder probably should be the favorite, but should he be minus 205? I'm not really sure about that. I do slightly favor Elder just because he's been here before. He's already made that debut. He's on a full camp to fight this night at Kansas City, whereas Gage Young's taken this fight on a 1 week's notice. He's making his debut. So, and it's a big step up in competition. Like, Evan Elder's fought good guys, and he's looked good doing it, whereas, Gage Young, toughest test was Quinlan Selkilde, and he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but other than that, just hasn't fought anybody. So, I slightly lean Elder to get it done, but I'm not running to the window to lay the minus 205. It's a fight that should be fun, but a fight that I will be passing on. Next, we got Matt Schnell going against Jimmy Flick. And yeah, a couple spots sticking out here. So, I think the general consensus is like Matt Schnell by knockout or Flick by submission, and I kind of agree with half of that. I'm just not as convinced as everyone else that Matt Schnell is going to knock out Jimmy Flick, and here's why. Matt Schnell knocks nobody out. Matt Schnell hurts nobody. Matt Schnell has 1 knockout in his entire career, and it was a very long time ago, like 2015, like 10 years ago. Is he going to knock out Jimmy Flick? I'm just not convinced it's going to happen. What I think's more likely is maybe a hot take. I think Matt Schnell by submission is more likely, because Matt Schnell, we forget, like, Matt Schnell's a submission artist. This guy's finished at 58% of his wins by submission, has a nasty triangle off his back. He got it against Jordan Espinoza, got it against Sumadarji, got it against Luis Smolka, put Roy Val in a bad spot. So yeah, Schnell's grappling is very good offensively. Defensively, it's horrible, though. Anytime somebody attempts to choke, he taps instantly. So that's why I think Jimmy Flick is very live to win by submission in his own right. What I like here is a sneaky play, I think. It's the fight ends by submission. The fight doesn't go to decision is minus 350. The fight ends by sub is plus 160. Jimmy Flick has an 88% submission rate. Matt Schnell has a 58% submission rate. Matt Schnell's been tapped out 3 times, and like I said, Matt Schnell has a very nasty triangle, very nasty grappling in his own right. I feel like this fight will hit the mat, the reason being because I think Schnell just has no takedown. I think it's like a 50% takedown defense. So yeah, I think a Flick submission is kind of what I'm leaning here, and I like the fight ends by sub. I have 1.25 units on it at plus 160, and then I also have a half unit shot on Jimmy Flick to win in round 1 or round 2 at plus 320. This is going to be Matt Schnell, I believe, official retirement fight. I think he retired after the Cody Durden fight, and he's coming back to, I believe, re-retire, and I just don't like that. So money's poured in on Jimmy Flick throughout the week. He was like plus 260 just last week. Now he's plus 160, but I think there are some reasons to like Jimmy Flick here. So yeah, fight ends by sub, Jimmy Flick 1-2 are the 2 spots I'm playing here. Next, we got Ikram Alaskarov going against Andre Muniz. For me, on this one, I just like violence. I think the fight doesn't go is a great parlay piece. I think the under 2.5 is a great parlay piece, and I did throw the under 2.5 in a parlay. You look at their losses. 6 losses for Muniz, all 6 come inside the distance. 2 losses for Alaskarov, both losses come inside the distance. That is 8 losses combined, all 8 come inside the distance. Muniz, I've always questioned the chin. I've always questioned the cardio, and I've always questioned the heart. I think this fight ends early. I think this fight ends in the first round, and if it doesn't, I think it ends in the second round. I think Alascarov's going to knock out Muniz. I think it's a brutal matchup for Andre Muniz. I think Andre Muniz is submission or bust, and I don't think he's going to be able to take down Alaskarov, and I just think on the feet, Alaskarov is going to land a bomb and put him down probably round 1. So I have the under 2.5 in a parlay, and in 2 parlays, actually. I have them in both my parlays, under 2.5 rounds. So a lot of my night does come down to this fight finishing within these first 12.5 minutes, and I'm fine with that just because of how non-durable both of these guys are. Next, we got Randy Brown going against Nicholas Dalby. Yeah, it's a pass for me. I lean Brown. I lean Brown by decision. Don't really want to lay the minus 270. Brown's another guy that kind of fights a lot closer to his opponents than really he needs to be doing. But yeah, Brown by decision, much younger, longer. I think Dalby's been looking really good lately at 40 years old, but Brown's not a guy that's going to slow down like his past opponents. So yeah, Brown by decision, but no bet for me on this one. Next, we got Michel Pereira going against Abus Magomedov. And yeah, I like Michel Pereira here. I think it's a great bounce back spot for Pereira. I think it's a really good buy low spot. This was a guy in Pereira who started to gain a ton of hype. He's on like an 8 or 9 fight win streak, and all that hype completely died down after he lost to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. But there's no shame in that loss, because Anthony Fluffy Hernandez would do the same exact thing, probably much worse, to Abus Magomedov. So yeah, I think the path for Magomedov is to go out there and grapple. I just don't see it, though. I don't think Abus has the cardio to do that. I don't think he has the durability to last 3 rounds with Michel Pereira, the cardio to last 3 rounds with Michel Pereira. I think Pereira knocks him out or even submits him. That's why I like the inside the distance. I have 1.25 units on Michel Pereira to win inside the distance at plus 170. Abus, like I said, I question the cardio. I question the durability of this guy. Even when he's not getting finished, he's still getting hurt in fights. Ferreira hurt him. Kyle Bahayo hurt him. And I think Michel Pereira can hurt him and get him out of there. So I like Michel Pereira inside the distance. And I also don't mind the money line. I don't mind the money line at minus 140. I think it's a really good buy low spot for Michel Pereira. I think Abus's path is to grapple for 3 rounds. And I just really don't see that happening. So yeah, Pereira for me, and Pereira inside the distance. Next, we got David Unama going against Giga Chikadze. We got a couple spots sticking out here. So Giga Chikadze was the only weight miss on the card. And yeah, there's like a lot of narrative things here with Giga. He moved camps. Apparently, he had like a big injury. Did not look good on the scales. He was kind of shaking. Missed weight, and he missed weight by 1 pound, which you typically don't like to see because that means they really tried to cut that weight. So yeah, I don't like that for the Giga side. Well, what I bet here, even before the weigh-ins and all that, was I like violence in this one. I like the fight doesn't go. I'm on it for 1.5 units at plus 135. The reason being is, Giga Chikadze, I've always questioned the ground game, but nobody's tested it. He's had the luxury of getting matched up against just a ton of strikers. Great job avoiding anybody that's even going to remotely try to grapple. If David Unama gets on top of Giga, I think the fight's over shortly after. Calvin Kattar took down Giga Chikadze, got into dominant positions. Giga did not get up after Calvin took him down. And Unama's a really good grappler, good ground and pound, much younger. If Unama grapples here, I think he makes it look easy. If he doesn't grapple, Giga Chikadze is a very live dog. If this fight stays on the feet for 15 minutes, Giga's a very, very live underdog. Unama gets hurt in every single fight. I question I don't want to say the durability because Unama's never been finished, but like he does get dropped and wobbled in pretty much every fight. And Giga does, still hit very hard, kicks very hard as well. So I think both guys are live for a knockout. And I think David Unama's very live for a submission if he chooses to go that route and take that path of least resistance. So I like violence. I'm on the fight doesn't go to decision. Plus 135, 1.5 units. And I have a half unit shot on David Unama to win by submission at plus 850. I've been waiting for somebody to grapple against Giga ever since the Austin Springer fight, where Austin Springer took him down for 2.5 rounds and subbed him. And I'm hoping David Unama goes out there and grapples as well. So Unama sub, fight doesn't go to decision. Next, we got the co-main event, Zhang Mingyang going against Anthony Smith. Yeah, this is probably Zhang Mingyang KO1. This guy has 18 wins, 18 first-round knockouts, or 18 first-round finishes, I should say. He does have a couple subs. But yeah, I think it's probably Zhang Mingyang by round 1 something. And I have the under 2.5 rounds in one of my parlays that we'll touch on at the end of the video. I don't mind the under 1.5 rounds as well. But yeah, Zhang Mingyang, probably KO 1-2. If you like Anthony Smith by submission is plus 1100. It's tempting, but at the same time, I'm just not sure he has anything left in the tank. If he does, that sub prop could be very live, and that's kind of how I would play Anthony Smith if I were to do so. But yeah, just give me the under 2.5. I think it's a great parlay piece this week because either Zhang Mingyang knocks out Anthony Smith early, or Smith takes over and finishes him. Zhang Mingyang has only seen a third round, I think, once. So yeah, give me violence here as well. And then we got Ian Machado Gary going against Carlos Praches. Yeah, fun main event here. You can definitely make a solid case for both sides. With Ian Gary, and this is a guy that's a very well-rounded, really good fighter. You could potentially mix in some grappling here. Probably the better cardio. We don't know, but probably, right? Like we've seen him go 5 rounds, whereas Carlos Praches we haven't. For me though, yeah, I'm just not fading these fighting nerds. And I'm not talking about the Kynan Kontruskis, the Bruno Brazils. I'm talking about the main four. The main four fighting nerds. They're 19-0, and not only are they 19-0, not only are they undefeated when they are winning in spectacular fashion. If you bet against these guys, not only are you losing these bets, but you're losing them, and you're looking silly doing so. And that could happen here. Like Ian Gary, I get why people would be on him. There are some reasons to like Gary, but at the same time, Carlos Praches, very long, rangy guy with great accuracy and the death touch in his hands. Gary is hittable. Gary has eaten some big shots, and nobody's been able to make him pay yet, other than Song Kanan. And if Praches touches you clean, I'm just not convinced that Gary's gonna be able to stay conscious here. When Praches hits guys, not only do they they get knocked down or get knocked out, like they don't get up. They typically don't get up for a while. So I'm on Praches here. I played the Praches to win by knockout in rounds 1, 2, or 3 at plus 250 for 1 unit. I think that's probably the best way to play him because I think if Praches is winning, he's winning by knockout and he's winning early. If you like Gary, I actually think if Gary's winning, it's potentially by decision, just making the fight as boring as possible. I don't really think Gary's going to have much grappling success. Maybe he can take down Praches, but I think we're going to get a fight that plays out on the feet. And if it does, I just think Praches touches the chin of Gary at some point. So, yeah, Praches KO 1, 2, 3. I think it's a good look if you're looking to play the Praches side. All right. We'll do a quick recap of the bets. David Unama, Chikadze fight doesn't go, 1.5 units, plus 135. Unama submission, half a unit, plus 850. Flick Schnell, fight ends by submission, 1.25 units at plus 160. Flick to win in round 1 or round 2, half a unit, plus 320. Michelle Pereira to win inside the distance, 1.25 units at plus 170. Praches to win by knockout in rounds 1, 2, or 3, 1 unit, plus 250. Blackshear inside the distance, 1 unit, plus 135. Wellmaker by KO, half a unit, plus 360. And then I have 2 parlays. My Violence parlay is a 2-leg parlay that consists of Anthony Smith, Zhang Mingyang under 2.5 rounds, and that is parlayed with Ikram Alaskarov versus Andre Muniz under 2.5 rounds. That comes out to minus 133, and I have 2 units on it to win 1.5 units. And then I have a 4-leg parlay. The first leg of this 4-leg parlay is Damon Blackshear money line. The second leg is Michelle Pereira money line. The third leg is the under 2.5 rounds in the Alaskarov Muniz fight. And then the fourth leg is Amarim Viana. The fight won't start round 3. That comes out to plus 371. And I have 1 unit on that to win 3.71 units. So those are the bets for UFC Kansas City. Should be a fun card. Should be a violent card. Best of luck, guys. Do me a favor, like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. We will talk to you guys very soon. See you later.